Hey everyone, this is 8 ways to add some energetic magic to your boring and flat sounds. I don't care what genre of music you're working in. I don't care if you're a cinema soundtrack guy, hip hop, electronic, or pop producer. Flat and boring sounds take all of the life and energy out of even the best songs. But the good news is you're about to learn a batch of new tricks to ensure you never run into a lifeless track again. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. Trick number 1 is to add a filter, a little bit of reverb, and a little bit of echo, and this can transform any sound. I love using this in chill and cinematic pieces. The sound we're going to be transforming right here sounds like this. It's just very, very boring, very dry. We're going to wetten it up by adding a basic EQ filter. For EQ filters, I just like using the stock EQs built in to your DAW. And I'm just going to add a high cut filter like this. This removes the high frequency energy in that sound. Now I'm going to add a stock reverb plugin just to add some space. Yeah. Sounds nice. Finally, I'm going to add an echo plugin, and I'm using Echo Boy Jr., but you could also use stock echo plugins built into any DAW because they all kind of work the same. And at the end, we should come up with this sound. Gorgeous. This next trick is to use automation to build tension. This is great for all you song builders and composers. Let's take this sound right here. Great sound, great melody, but it's got to change throughout this track. Otherwise, it just sounds static. So luckily, I made this sound with a synthesizer, and all synthesizers have cutoff knobs like this and this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this knob. I'm just going to double click it, and Logic creates an automation point. This process is a little different in FL Studio and Ableton, but you can do this in both of those DAWs and any other DAW that you might be using. So I'm going to add some movement to this sound by creating a point at the beginning of the run and then toward the end of it. Then I'm going to open it up a lot to the end right here. Let's listen to this in action. This next trick is to add a reversed reverb swell to the front of your melodies or vocals. It's a great way to add energy and a great way to spice up your music. My vocal that I'm working with sounds like this. Is there more that I can say before we hang up for the night? So you can see there's these big gaps in between each vocal phrase, and these are great places to get creative. So to pull off a vocal swell, what we do is we grab the first word or phrase in any vocal phrase. I'm going to take this word because I think it'll sound better with the reverb. And what we do is we just duplicate that word and mute the vocal just to clean things up. That's what it sounds like alone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a reverb plugin. You can use your reverb plugin of choice. I'm just going to use the stock reverb plugin built into Logic Pro X, and to create a really nice swell, we're going to add a longer decay time. I'm going to go around 10 seconds. I'm also going to put the wet knob or the mix knob all the way up. And then we're going to print the sound or bounce it out, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to right click and bounce in place. Now we have a beautiful new sample of a vocal swell. Let's increase the gain, and you can see it just kind of tapers off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off just the front of it and then reverse it like that. I don't need it to be this long, so I'm just going to cut up to there, and then I'm going to fade it in. And then I'm going to do a little bit of fade out so I don't get that pop sound. And if I play this, I love to add reverb to the reverb swell just to make it a little bit smoother when it ends. I'm going to add some reverb here and curve the fade just a little bit. And at the end, this is what we should get.
Is there more that I can say?
This next trick is to add reverb and delay to anything and just watch it come alive. These two plugins create space, and sometimes a little space is all we need. The sound we're working with sounds like this. Gorgeous little melody, but we need to spice it up. I'm going to use Ableton's Echo plugin. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, I've just switched from Logic to Ableton for this trick. Ableton has a beautiful Echo plugin. It looks like this. I'm just going to increase the dry wet knob with a time of 1/8. That means there's going to be 8 echoes per 1 bar. This is 1 bar in length right here. From 1 to 2, 2 to 3. And that's just, you get the point. So if I play this now, and then what we could do is go to Reverb and Resonance and grab the Reverb plugin. What I'm going to do is just dampen this reverb by grabbing this EQ right here. I'm just going to dampen it a little bit, add a little bit of decay time, and decrease the dry wet knob. This next trick is an add-on to the last trick. And what we do is we grab a free plugin called OTT and just turn it on and listen to the magic happen. This plugin just makes every sound bigger and more aggressive, and it's so cool to mess around with. So I'm going to add OTT to my channel strip here, or my plugin strip, and unfortunately, you can see it looks a little glitchy right now, because it is. I updated my computer, I don't know what happened, but it doesn't matter, because we really only need one knob, and we can see the knob pretty perfectly, and that is this knob, which is the depth knob. So if we play our melody, and we just increase the depth knob, you can totally hear that melody come to life with just one knob on a simple little free plugin called OTT. I highly recommend getting that plugin. This next trick is to layer your vocals with harmony. I know most of you are producers and not all of you know how to sing. That's fine. I don't know how to sing either, but you're a producer, so you need to hire singers or you need to record singers. You have to make sure that you request harmonies and doubles, and a good vocalist will know what that means. Let me show you. I have a vocal here, and it's one that I used in an earlier trick, and this vocal sounds like this.
You could start a war inside my head. Now I'm overthinking everything, things I never said. Yeah, you could start a war inside my head.
So this is a hook. Hooks of the song sound really good when they're layered with rich harmony layers and doubles. So instead of just having this,
you could start a war inside my head.
We can add a harmony that sounds like this.
You could start a war inside my head.
And then another harmony, it sounds like this. It's actually just an octave up.
You could start a war inside my head.
Another low harmony or double.
You could start a war inside my head.
And then a true double.
You could start a war inside my head.
Now, let's listen to that in action.
Try to make peace, put out the fire, but you just wanna gaslight. You could start a war inside my head. Now I'm overthinking everything, things I never said. Yeah, you could start a war inside my head.
See how all of those layers of harmonies and doubles just add so much energy to that vocal. Now here's the good news about vocals. Vocals are notoriously difficult to come by because good vocalists are hard to find, and good downloadable vocals on the internet are even harder to find. I'm currently doing the dirty work for you and creating one of the biggest vocal packs that will ever be released to producers. This vocal pack will have 5 full vocal top lines just like this one here, including this one, and tons of other really cool vocal sounds that will bring so much life to any music. This vocal pack I've been hinting for a while, but I promise it's almost done. We are so close to the finish line on that, and you guys will be the first to know when it is finished. So keep checking in with me by watching my YouTube videos, and you will be the first to know when this masterpiece is released. It'll be released very, very shortly. This next trick adds an insane amount of energy to any sound, and it's called layering. And it's when you just layer a bunch of crap onto any sound and see what you get. Sometimes you'll end up with a bigger, fatter sound. When I first made this sound here, it sounded cool and big. But I got bored of it because there's not enough layers. So I duplicated it, added a low cut filter, aka I removed the low frequencies to it because I didn't need them. And I also spread it with a chorus plugin. So I made it really wide. And that added a lot of wideness to this boring bass line. Here it is without the wideness. And here it is with it. Wow, that's pretty sick. But it didn't have enough punch to it. So I went ahead and I found this tom, which a tom is just a drum. And I found this tom sample on Splice. And then I shortened it. So by default it was like long like that, but I shortened it up a little to look like this. And watch what happens when I combine that and the bass line. Now we get a punchy bass line. Oh man, that's so cool. But I wasn't done there. I had to add a little bit of high-end harmonics, so I created some chord sounds. And I even layered them too, because sometimes you can layer all day, and I don't know where I was going with that, but here's one of the layers. So if I play this with our bass line, wow, that is so gorgeous. And then I play it with this one, we get that. Now, let's listen to this big stacked bass line for like 9 seconds and just enjoy it. This next trick is how to use automation to add energy to your sounds right before the drop or the chorus. In this case, it'll be right before the drop. And this is the transition from the chorus into the drop of the song. Let's give this a quick listen. What we do to make this trick happen is we have to automate this piece of vocal right before the drop and just make it sound really cool. So step 1 is I'm going to grab our reverb plugin, turn on automation, and I'm going to tweak this knob here. And what we're going to do is just turn the mix all the way down for this part of the vocal like this. So watch. Now our chorus will have some nice lush reverb on it.
If I'm really going under, save me from myself.
See how it just got really dry right there? So that's like one thing that you could do, but you could also raise it one notch by adding a distortion plugin. And this is where things get really, really weird. So I'm going to use a paid distortion plugin called Saturn 2, but you're free to use whatever distortion plugin you would like. I'm going to jiggle this drive knob here. We're going to start it at nothing, but when we get to this part here, we're going to have some nice distortion on this vocal. And the type, I'm just going to do some heavy saturation. And now, when we get to this transition here, let's listen to what this vocal turns into. Isn't that awesome? So let's go ahead and listen to it in action. There you go, guys. I hope you're able to take these tricks and add some serious magic to your music. If you would like to learn every component of music production, whether it's songwriting, arrangement, chords, melodies, mixing and mastering, come join me in my music production bootcamp. My production bootcamp is not just a course that teaches you all of those things, but it's also an entire backend mastermind group with over 1,000 students where you can receive unlimited track feedback on your music from me and the other students, and ask me any music production question that you would like. If that sounds like something that interests you, go ahead and check out the link at the top of the description below, and I'll see you in there. And of course, as always, stay tuned for next video.